What are some common mistakes you've seen leaders make in terms of addressing issues or giving feedback?
A great question. And what I see all the time is number one, avoiding giving feedback for as long as possible. And then by the time they give the feedback, they're frustrated with the person's behavior, and that frustration shows in their tone. And there's something that happens in the mind when you get frustrated with someone's behavior. At first, you see it as just a behavior, but if you let it drag on a bit, you start seeing it as a character attribution. And once you see it as a character attribution, you are actually villainizing them. And once you villainize them, it is really, really hard to give them feedback using, well, let's just say by creating a safe, it's really difficult to create a safe psychological place to give them feedback that they can actually hear and use. So I'll give you an example. So let's say someone's showing up late at work, and the first couple times you're kind of annoyed, but you decide that you're not going to say anything. So the important thing is that if you don't say anything right away and you let it build up, eventually you're going to have these conversations in your head about that person, about how disrespectful they are, about how lazy they are. All these stories you'll have made up about their motives and why they're late all the time. And then when you actually get them in to talk to them about being late, it's going to be really hard to hide that in your tone. So my number one thing about feedback is you want to address things right away when they aren't issues yet. Just talk to people about things before you're even giving them formal feedback. The second thing is we really need to focus on mutual purpose. So what do we both want? And then what behaviors are happening and what behaviors are happening and how effective they are relatively in terms of getting to our mutual purpose. So for example, if our mutual purpose is to have a team that's really excited to work together and does great work together, we both want that and we can agree on that. Then if you're showing up to, if you're showing up to work late a few times a week, it may not feel like a big deal to you, but the team members that are here, they do notice it. And they're going to make up stories in their head about it. And those stories are going to be that you don't care about them and you don't care about the work. And maybe you're not holding your, maybe you're not pulling your weight. And that may or may not be true. But the point is that coming in on time sends a message to the rest of the team. And when you're not around, you don't know what stories other people are making up about you, right? But if you're absent, that is noticed. And I think that's important to know. So you can start having those conversations with people right away. I have a situation right now where I have a team and I have a mandate that they check Slack every single day. And I have a couple of them that aren't doing it. And I keep reminding everybody. So my strategy is just to keep remind people why I want people to do this, what's the thinking behind it, what's the impact of checking in every day, and what's the impact of not checking in every day. And then the fact that it only takes 5 minutes, you don't actually have to answer anybody, but you just need to know what's going on and you need to be on top of that. Um, it's powerful because I haven't gotten angry at anybody yet. And however, I can hear the possibility of stories in my head. So as a leader of this team, I can hear myself getting frustrated when in the back of my head, that voice in the back of my head gets a little bit frustrated because I can tell someone hasn't checked into Slack, they haven't commented, or they'll act like they don't know something's going on that's been posted in Slack. And that little voice inside me goes, well, if you would have checked your Slack, and notice that snarkiness in my voice. That is so judgy that if I actually let those words out in that tone of voice, they'd probably quit the team because they'd be so humiliated. And your goal as a leader is not to humiliate people. It's to give them acceptance, but then inspire them to perform at standards. And just to guess, wrap this up as a happy ending, what I'm noticing is that more and more people are in that Slack every single day because it's contagious and they're seeing everybody else and they're hearing me say it. So then they make a little bit more of an effort. And as they make that effort, they see the good things that happen. And the same thing would happen with the person coming in late, right? They would come in late. And they wouldn't really notice, but then they'd start coming in on time, and maybe they'd start noticing other people come in late, and they go, oh, I get it. I get the story I'm making up about them. So that's the idea. And so it's a really nice positive way to give people feedback forward, before it becomes a problem. And that's a big, big key leadership skill.